Welcome, restless souls, to Carman's Crypt. I'm Carman, keeper of forgotten tales and curator of nightmares. You've wandered into my domain, where each week I unearth a fresh horror from the depths of human imagination. In these darkened halls, stories wait like hungry shadows. Each tale we've collected whispers of terrors both ancient and new. From crumbling mansions where something skitters behind the walls, to that strange text message you received at 3 a.m. from a number that shouldn't exist. So gather close. The candles are lit, the shadows grow long, and the witching hour is upon us. Are you prepared to face what lurks in the darkest recesses of Carman's Crypt? Lock your doors, still your nerves, and remember, here, every fear comes to life. This is Carman's Crypt. Your sanctuary of scares awaits. The sign read Holloway's Pumpkin Patch, pick your own, in letters that had once been cheerful orange, but now looked like dried blood in the October twilight. 14-year-old Cody Cook stood at the entrance with his little sister Mindy, staring at the crooked wooden gate that creaked in the wind. "This place is perfect," Cody said, pulling out his phone to snap a photo. "Mom's going to lose it when she sees the size of these pumpkins." Mindy tugged on his sleeve, her pigtails bouncing. "I don't like it here. The pumpkins look weird." Cody glanced at the field sprawling before them. She wasn't wrong. The pumpkins were massive, some the size of beanbag chairs, their surfaces unnaturally smooth and gleaming. But it was 2 weeks before Halloween, and their mom had given them $40 and explicit instructions: get the biggest, best pumpkins they could find for the annual neighborhood carving contest. "You're such a baby," Cody said, stepping through the gate. "Come on." I saw a monster one near the back. The patch was empty except for them. No farmers, no other families, not even a cash box for payment. Just rows and rows of pumpkins stretching toward a skeletal barn in the distance. The air smelled weird, not like earth and autumn leaves, but something else, something sweet and rotten, like fruit left too long in the sun. Mindy followed reluctantly, her sneakers squelching in the soft ground. "Cody, where is everyone?" "Probably closed," he said, not looking back. "We'll leave money by the gate when we're done." "There!" He pointed to a colossal pumpkin at the end of a row, easily 3 feet tall. Its surface was perfectly smooth, almost plastic-looking, and colored a deep, arterial orange. As they approached, Cody noticed something odd about its stem. It wasn't brown and woody like a normal pumpkin stem. It was green and thick, pulsing slightly, like a vein. "I really don't think we should," Mindy started. $20 says I can't even wrap my arms around this thing," Cody interrupted, bending down. He grabbed the pumpkin to test its weight, and his hand sank into the surface, not through it, into it. The pumpkin was soft, yielding, warm. His fingers went in up to the second knuckle before he jerked back, stumbling. Where he had touched it, the orange surface rippled like disturbed water, then slowly smoothed over again. "Cody!" Mindy screamed. He whirled around. Mindy wasn't looking at him. She was staring at the pumpkin patch around them. Every single pumpkin had sprouted thin, pale roots that were emerging from the ground, waving in the air like the tentacles of sea anemones. They moved with purpose, questing, searching. "Run!" Cody grabbed Mindy's hand and bolted back toward the entrance. They made it 3 rows before the ground gave way beneath Cody's foot. He pitched forward with a yelp, his ankle trapped in something. Looking down, he saw the earth had opened up into a hole, and a thick root had coiled around his leg, pulling him down. "Get it off!" he screamed, clawing at the ground. More roots erupted around him, these ones covered in tiny thorns that drew blood where they touched his skin. Mindy grabbed his arms and pulled, her face red with effort, but the roots were impossibly strong. From the corner of his eye, Cody saw movement. The giant pumpkin he had touched was rolling toward them, not rolling like a ball, rolling with intention. The pale roots underneath it pushing and pulling it across the ground like spider legs. "Mindy, run!" Cody shouted. "Get help! I'm not leaving you!" She pulled harder, and Cody felt his ankle scraping against the hole's edge. Then something changed. The roots went slack for just a moment, and he scrambled free, his shoe left behind in the hole. They ran. Behind them came sounds Cody would never forget. The wet, heavy thumping of pumpkins rolling across dirt, gaining speed. The whisper hiss of hundreds of roots sliding through soil. And underneath it all, a low, resonant groan, like wind through a tunnel, except it sounded almost like words. Mindy was faster than Cody, even with both shoes, and she reached the gate first. She grabbed it, pulled, and it wouldn't open. The wood had somehow swollen in its frame, sealing tight. "The fence!" Cody gasped. The split-rail fence was only 4 feet high. They could jump it. He boosted Mindy up, and she scrambled over, tumbling into the grass on the other side. Cody grabbed the top rail to pull himself up, and that's when the root got him. It whipped around his bare foot like a lasso, thorns digging into his flesh. Cody screamed as he was yanked backward. His chin hit the top rail, and he tasted blood. Mindy's hand shot through the fence, grabbing his arms. "Don't let go!" She sobbed. "Cody, don't let go!" The root pulled harder. Cody felt like he was being torn in half. Over his sister's shoulder, he could see the road, a streetlight flickering to life, the normal world just feet away. Behind him, the thumping grew louder. He didn't want to look, but he couldn't help it. The pumpkins were coming. Dozens of them, hundreds, converging on his position. The big one he had touched was in the lead, and Cody could now see what he had somehow missed before. It had a face, not carved, grown. A gaping, drooping mouth full of seed teeth, empty eye sockets that leaked orange juice. The face of something that had once been human-shaped, but had been stretched and distorted to fit this new form. The pumpkin moaned, its voice gurgling from that terrible mouth.
"Good crop this year. Good crop. Need fertilizer."
Cody understood then. The perfect pumpkins, the empty patch, the soft earth. He thought of all the missing person posters he had seen around town lately. How many? 7? 10? The root jerked him back another foot. He could feel his sister losing her grip. "Mindy!" he gasped. "There's a stake right there. Pull it up." She looked down and saw it. A wooden stake hammered into the ground just inside the fence line, probably used to string lights or mark boundaries. She grabbed it and pulled with everything she had. It came free with a wet sucking sound. "The root!" Cody shouted. "Cut the root!" Mindy didn't hesitate. She jabbed the stake down through a gap in the fence, spearing the root that held her brother. It writhed and released him instantly, retreating into the ground with a sound like a tea kettle whistling. Cody practically flew over the fence, both of them collapsing onto the blessed normality of the roadside grass. Behind them, the pumpkins stopped at the fence line. They bumped against it, pushed at it, but didn't cross. Cody watched in horror as they slowly began to roll back into the depths of the patch, their root legs carrying them away into the gathering darkness. The giant pumpkin with the face was the last to leave. It rotated slowly, and Cody swore those empty eye sockets looked right at him.
"Next time.
It seemed to whisper.
Next time. Ripe for harvest. Ready. Soon."
Then it was gone, leaving only disturbed earth and that sickly sweet smell. The police found Holloway's pumpkin patch the next day after Cody and Mindy's frantic report. There were no giant pumpkins, no moving roots, just a normal field full of normal pumpkins, and a very confused farmer named Pete Holloway, who had owned the property for 30 years. "Must have been some kind of Halloween prank," the officer said, closing his notebook. "Hallucinogenic gas, maybe? We'll investigate." But Cody knew what he had seen. He knew why his shoe was never found. He knew why they discovered 7 fertilizer-enriched patches in the field, circular spots where the pumpkins grew especially large, and the soil was especially rich. What he didn't tell the police, what he didn't even tell Mindy, was what he had seen when he looked back one last time before they walked away from the pumpkin patch that night. In the distance, near the skeletal barn, there was a scarecrow. It wore a flannel shirt and jeans. Its face was made of burlap, stitched into a crude smile. Cody had seen that flannel shirt before. He had seen it in a photo on a missing person poster. The poster for Tom Hendricks, age 42, missing since October 1st. As they had driven past, Cody could swear he saw the scarecrow wave. 2 weeks later, on Halloween night, Cody and Mindy stayed inside. They didn't carve pumpkins. They didn't trick-or-treat. They sat on the couch eating candy and watching stupid movies. And when their mom asked why they'd wasted $40 and never gotten any pumpkins, they told her they had changed their minds. They didn't mention that on their walk home from school that day, they had seen a new pumpkin patch pop-up stand in the grocery store parking lot. Didn't mention the cheerful sign advertising Holloway's Pick Your Own Pumpkins, fresh from the patch. They definitely didn't mention the way the pumpkins seemed to watch them as they hurried past, or how one of them, the biggest one, sitting in the place of honor, had a stem that looked less like a stem and more like a coiled root. And they absolutely didn't mention the scarecrow propped up behind the stand, wearing a flannel shirt and a burlap smile, or the way its empty button eyes seemed to follow them all the way down the street. Some things you kept to yourself, some things you tried to forget, but Cody knew he'd never forget. Not the face in the pumpkin, not the whisper promise of next time, not the way the ground had opened up like a hungry mouth. Because the truth was, Holloway's pumpkin patch wasn't just growing pumpkins. It was growing, spreading, moving, and it was almost harvest time. Cody turned off all the porch lights and locked the door. Outside, in the dark October night, something thumped slowly down their street. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of something large and round and patient, making its rounds, checking the addresses, learning the neighborhood, getting ready for next year's crop. Whispered the wind through the mail slot.
Good crop. Need fertilizer.
Cody stuffed a towel under the door and turned up the TV. It was going to be a long night and an even longer year until next Halloween. And so, dear listeners, we emerge from another dark corner of Carman's Crypt. But remember, the horrors you've heard tonight are merely echoes of the terrors that await in the shadows of your own mind. If you enjoyed your stay in the crypt, why not invite a friend to join us next week? After all, fear is best when shared. Leave a review if you dare, or share your own tales of terror on my social media. Who knows, your nightmares might just become my next story. Until next time, keep checking under your bed. And remember, in Carman's Crypt, every fear comes alive, and no one is truly safe. Sweet dreams, if you can still sleep at all.